Hey everybody, today we're making the single element monsters on Planet Island, so let's get started. First I'm going to start off with Mammott. This one was pretty easy, he's kind of just like a white sausage, so let's just start making that first. So I'm going to smush the clay and roll it up into a sausage and then cut it in half. Then I'm going to start making the legs, just cut a triangle on the bottom and start just molding his feet. And then I'm going to put just a few indents in the bottom just to like make the feet a little longer. After that, I'm going to start making a hole in the mouth. I'm just cutting it with my X-Acto knife and then indenting the part to make it a little deeper. After that, I'm going to put some clay in the mouth to get it the color. This part was pretty easy. I had to flatten it out and then use my indent tool just to push it in. And I cut all the extra clay off, and then we're going to start making the teeth. This part was pretty easy. I'm just getting a little more clay in there. And now the teeth. This part was pretty easy. It was just kind of a little repetitive, but it wasn't hard. It was just making little squares and then putting it in the mouth. I had a little trouble like putting them everywhere because I didn't know if they would fit. But I think it turned out pretty good in the end. We're doing the top teeth now. After the teeth are done, we're going to start making the lips. I'm just using the light pink for this, turning it into a little worm and then putting it around the mouth. Now I'm just kind of smoothing it in and adding a little more because I didn't put enough clay around it. And I'm positioning the teeth a little bit and trying to just make it look better because I feel like it was too smushed in there. Alright, and after now the lips, we're going to start with the eyes. So his eyes kind of have a black in it, so I'm putting that on first, and I'm just going to layer it on top. So after this, we're also going to put the eyes, the iris, and it's just like a yellow, so we're going to put that in. And then we're going to do the eye. So we're going to get some black and just put it in the middle. And we're going to put the little white dot that they have on like the top and bottom. And then we're gonna border it off with some pink clay. After that, we're gonna start making the feet. So I'm just gonna get more pink and then turn it into like an oval, like a flat oval, and then just put it on. Then I'm gonna get my dentist tool and just indent the feet in. This part was pretty easy. And then we're going to start making the toenails. I'm using kind of like a brown. I'm not entirely sure what color it would be, but it's kind of like a brown. Alright, after that we're going to start making the arms. This part was probably the easiest part. All I do is just make some sausages and cut them, and then we're basically done. We just got to make the fingers and smoothen these on. Now that we have those on, we're going to just start smoothing them into the body, which was pretty easy. The clay was pretty soft, so it wasn't too hard to do. After that, we're going to just start making the fingers, and then we are done with him. So this part, like always, make sausages. He's 3 fingers per hand, so I'm just going to make 6 of them in total. So yeah, let's do that. Now we're going to attach them onto the body, and then we're finished. Now we're going to start making Toe Jammer. He was probably the easiest one to make out of all 4. So what I just did was I got all the clay and I made a circle first, and then I stretched it out into like a giant sausage, kind of, and then I cut it in half, so you're gonna see that right now. Alright, after that we're gonna start making his mouth, so I made a little indent as like a reference to what I'm gonna do, and I got my X-Acto knife and started cutting his mouth. After that, I got some black, and then I flattened it out and put it inside the mouth. So I'm gonna put it in the pasta roller, and then yeah. After that, we're gonna start making the lips. It's the same thing for Mammott. Just make like a thin worm, and then just border it around the mouth. This part is probably the easiest part of the whole thing to do for all of them. So yeah, let's do that. Trying to position it right, trying to get the mouth to like look better. And then we are going to start making the eyes. So I just kind of made a circle. I made like half circles, cut it in half, and I put it on each side. Next, I got some black and just put a little dot on each side, looking different directions, and then bordered it with some of the clay. Did this for both eyes, and then after that I'm going to put little indents in the clay that's bordering around it. After that, it's the most repetitive process, making the toe. So I had to do this 8 times, I think, but it took a long time, but we finally did it. Next, we are doing Noggin. So I used gray for this, and I made a cylinder, and then I cut a little bit of the bottom off because it was a little too big. After that, I'm going to start making his like jaw on the bottom part. This part was pretty easy. I just made little I cut out little squares on the top, and I think it turned out pretty good. Alright, after that we're going to start making his eyes. So I'm using some light green, and I'm going to make same thing for toe jammer, just the little circles, and then put him on his eyes. Next, we're going to put the gray border around his eyes, and then put a little indents in them. After that, I'm going to add the little black dots into his eyes, and then we're done with the face, and we can start putting the little cracks in his body. So I'm putting the little cracks in. This part was pretty easy. Just used my dentist tool for this and made the little indents. After this, we're going to make the hands and feet. We're going to start off by making the feet first. This part was pretty easy. I cut this in half, and this would be both feet. I did the same thing as I did for Mammott. I just kind of used the indent tool and made the little toes. Then we used some brown to make his toenails, and same thing for Mammott, did like the same process. Now his feet. Last thing we're going to do is make his hands. So basically the same thing with his feet, except we are not going to indent, we're going to cut the hands out so we can pose the fingers. Now we're putting the nails on, and we are basically done. We're going to make the next hand, and then we're done. So there's Noggin, and now we're going to make Potbelly. So for this one, I started off with his pot, so I used some brown for this, and I made a cylinder and made a flat circle. I put that on there, and then I started making his Potbelly. So I used some of the light green, and pretty simple. I made a circle and then cut it in half, and then I used the dentist tool to make his little belly button. Now I'm going to use some wire for the neck to make it extra sturdy. I'm going to put his like dark green circle things he has on the Potbelly, and then we're going to start building the neck. So it's basically a combination of the light green and the dark green and the light green and then the dark green and then his head. Now we're going to start making his head. So I made another cylinder and I put some black on the end of it as his mouth. And then I made his teeth. And then I put the pink for his gums. This part was a little hard to do because I had to make sure that the teeth were right on there and they wouldn't just fall off. And to make sure I had to fit them all on. After that, we're going to put the gums on. It's just one strip of pink on the bottom. Then we're going to make his lips. And smoothing it in. Then we're adding the little dark green dots he has on like the back of his head. This part was pretty easy. Then we're going to start making the other head. So same thing like last time, using the dark green, then the light green. And basically same thing as the other head, same process. But this one, he's gonna be smiling, and not like a blank face like him. Adding his gums, and then we're going to put the border around his mouth. This part was a little hard to make him smile because I had to use the indent tool and like push the top lip down and like the sides up, and I didn't want to like ruin the face. Then we're adding his little dark green dots, and we are done basically. Now we just have to super glue everything together, and then we are done. Put the head there, and the other one. Now we have to just glue him onto his pot. Alright, and we finished, guys. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to check out my other videos. And I'm currently selling these guys on my Etsy. It'll be linked in the description. So thank you guys for watching.